Hi and welcome. My name is Hyunwoo and I'm an interaction designer from UX team here at Samsung. I'm responsible for One UI's animation design and prototyping. Rather than aesthetics, I focus on creating meaningful and user-friendly experience. Today, we'll discuss 3 ways animation and haptics can make interface more intuitive and user experience more approachable. First, we'll go over how clear animation can improve usability. Second, how sound and haptics can make devices feel more natural and comfortable. And finally, how micro-animations can provide a richer user experience. Before we go any further to understand how and why animation and haptics became key tools, let's discuss 3 main factors that influenced our new interface design. The first factor is drastic increase in user screen time. In the second quarter of 2020, there was a 40% increase in user screen time from last year. As screen time increased, user screen fatigue also increased. That's why interface changes were necessary for user comfort. The second factor is high proportion of digital content in user screen time. About half of daily screen time is spent using social media. Since digital content takes such a large portion of user screen time, it was important for our interface design to help users engage more deeply with this type of content. The third factor is increasing form factors in Galaxy products. Interface design needs to be consistent across a multitude of screens, not only of smartphones, but also smartwatches, tablets, laptops, and devices with foldable screens. As you've seen from the previous keynote session, we have renovated our interface design to focus on core user experience. We did this through by reducing the overall number of colors to keep things clear and intuitive. We have also simplified the way we present visuals to focus on what matters. In short, for today's content-oriented environment, we adapted clear and intuitive design that works well across many platforms. However, the simplified design can also feel cold and unapproachable. Despite the visual simplicity, clear animation and haptics should provide users with an emotionally resonant and approachable experience. Let's take a look at 3 ways using the One UI interface to make the design more approachable. The first way is to make our animation clearer. Due to One UI's simple design, clear animations are the key to making interactions meaningful and easily understandable to users. We thought deeply about functions before creating animations to provide an intuitive experience for users. Let's look at the first example of moving an app in a multi-window. The previous interface has its merits, but the interaction could be a little more defined. The update is subtle but important. Here are 3 main points that we consider in our updated animation design. 1. Affordance. It helps users understand what action is available on the interface. 2. Feedback. It helps users understand what's happening during the action. 3. Feed forward. It helps user predict the result of the action. Affordance drives user action. It should be clear which element will be part of the interaction. Take a look at the handler on the left screen. In this example, when the user grabs the handler, there is a visual emphasis on the selected window. Once the element is free from the fixed frame of the layout, it lets the user know that the element is movable and also prompts the user to move the window. Feedback informs the user of status of the current action. Constant communication lets the user know that an action is going as intended. In this example, the blurry background helps the user focus on the element being moved. Finally, feed forward provides the user with a preview of the final outcome. Even before the action is completed, the user should be able to predict the outcome. In this example, the animation cues the user on the outcome of the release. Let's revisit the example of M movement across a multi-window and examine it through the lens of affordance, feedback, and feed forward. As you can see, the animation is much clearer. Let's go through more examples. When you change the location of an app, it's easy to identify the shifted apps due to the shaking animation. A micro animation has been added for when notes are moved into a folder. There has been update to the drag and drop features as well. Although there are different visual factors in each example, what links them together is clear animation. Within a minimal and simple interface, these animations are quite effective. Our aim is to continue developing these clear animations for a consistent user experience throughout our product. As you can see, there are many different One UI drag and drop patterns. However, it is still a work in progress with ongoing research. By next year, I hope to provide more details on these changes. The second way to make a more approachable interface and create more immersive experience is to utilize appropriate haptic and acoustic feedback. In daily life, we receive a variety of feedback through our senses. For example, when using a light switch, we get physical and auditory feedback. Multisensory information helps us create more familiar and understandable interaction. Physical sensation is more intuitive as it feels more natural. Personally, I prefer physical buttons over touchscreen controls when driving. The physical sensation can provide a familiar experience when using interface as well. And this experience can be useful for designers and developers like you. Bring your visual, tactile, and auditory senses from reality into a device. When you can seamlessly sync haptic and acoustic feedback with your animation, you can deliver a more natural and emotional experience to users. In this example, the animation is very clear. It works well independently. However, let's incorporate haptic and acoustic feedback. As you can see, it gives more weight and clarity to the interaction. In the Galaxy Watch, we can make the user experience more intuitive by mimicking actual objects. For setting the time, we can provide clicks with haptics to mimic wheel scrolling combined with our simplified visuals. This gives much more depth to the user experience. Let's look at more examples where we can incorporate this. It really adds to the interaction. Proper use of haptics for interactions like this one can improve the overall experience of using an interface. Finally, let's discuss setting the tone within animation. In a minimal and simple visual environment, adding even small emotional content can elevate the overall experience. There are so many adjectives that describe our feelings, and they affect our mindset and our relationship with others. There is no doubt that our feelings are heavily in tune with our attitude towards everything. We can sense the tone from the interface as well. We connect with our interface and receive non-verbal feedback through colors, shapes, and movement. Let's consider the process of entering a password. It may seem simple, but there are many steps in this. Mistakes do happen, but if your device gives this type of warning, it would discourage you from going further. Of course, this is just prototype, so don't worry. The tone you can sense from an interface is an important part of the user experience. With this in mind, we worked hard to set an appropriate emotional tone in the interface that would provide users with less cold and more approachable experience. We wanted to minimize discomfort that user may experience, so we study negative emotions. There are many different ways of expressing negative emotions. We created a diagram that represents how straightforward and negative our micro-animations look to our users. Let's take a look at the diagram. From our study, we discovered something. Some animations were too ambiguous to deliver clear meaning. Other animations were too straightforward, they almost feel cold. We want to bring joy to our users. This animation has a good balance. There is some ambiguity, but the intention is clear. We believe this animation will make our interface more friendly and witty. From here, we expanded our research across the spectrum of emotions. We tried our best to improve even common animations like these. We also tried using icons to represent certain situations. In this example, you can see the feedback on fingerprint recognition errors. The micro-animation helps users understand errors in a friendly way. We also tested movement with text. This example shows an animation with a negative message. We wanted to keep it lighthearted. You can understand the meaning by looking at just the animation. You can see the following examples in one new i4. When facial recognition fails. When fingerprint recognition fails. When an incorrect password is input. During device status checks. And when conveying expression on the keyboard. To summarize, animation and haptics are tools that can deliver more approachable experience on our simplified interface design. Clear animations allow users to understand complex interactions intuitively. We can create more natural and familiar interactions with haptic and acoustic feedback that mimic objects in real life. Finally, setting the right tone on the interface can infuse lighthearted feelings into user experience. Here at Samsung, we continue to renovate our design to meet the changing needs of our users and the market. We will always try our best to satisfy our users in every way possible. Thank you for watching.